Hey, Anton, how cool is it being a slot back this season as you move through this schedule in the backfield in this offense for Navy?
I'd say very excited with this new offense that we have. I feel like I'm a perfect fit for, A-back. And I'm just thankful for the opportunity that Coach Chestnut gave me to show him that I can play a different position and still excel at it.
And pretty cool for you, not only playing a new position, but also kind of in a new offense with Coach Chestnut as the offensive coordinator. How do you like the new look Navy offense?
Definitely, I would say a lot more moving parts. I would say that. And then also we have implemented a lot of more explosive plays and therefore giving us more space to throw the ball and also come back with like a counter or something and just like throw off the whole rhythm of the defense with just one play. And I think that this offense really like is a very good, scheme for explosive plays.
And it seems to play right to your skills. Getting into space seems like where you really can make plays.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I feel like like last year kind of confined me. I kind of have to, make some space for myself. But when I have like space to move, I feel like I'm free.
And how cool is it scoring the touchdown? Talk about that touchdown and scoring your first touchdown of the season.
It was very exciting. I mean, I was kind of like in the same scenario as what happened in Army Navy, on the goal line, like, and it's between me and the defender who wants it more. And I felt like I kind of redeemed myself right there, but really just I got that off my shoulder, and now I'm ready to score a lot more touchdowns.
And how neat was the reaction from your football brotherhood after you knocked it into the end zone? They seemed to really get excited and really happy for you.
Yeah, they know how much that meant to me. Being in that scenario and then also scoring again. It was kind of a struggle at first in this position that I kind of like didn't really want. Didn't really accept it at first, but then I accepted it. I worked hard over the summer and like really earned my position, and like my teammates saw that and like they understood like how much that really meant to me, and like they made the moment even better.
And playing in the backfield with Amin, now playing the same position that your best friend does. What has that been like for you, being able to maybe share some different things, some nuances as you work with him?
Man, he definitely made the position easier, to learn. I like he's been at this position like since he's been here, so he knows how the ins and outs of this position. Even if we get a new offensive coordinator or not, like a slot back is a slot back. And I mean, definitely made that transition like a lot easier, a lot better. And also, I also get to celebrate with him at everything, and also learn from him.
How has it been this season? You have a new head coach, but he's also a familiar face, but you also have some new voices on the offense. Has that been a nice transition for everybody?
It has. I definitely Coach Newberry has done a wonderful job, like getting us involved and getting to know all of us, and then also like us getting to know our new coaching staff. Like we've grown like great relationships with all of our coaches.
Playing home games at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis. How neat is that? Such a historic venue and all that have gone before you and you getting to leave your mark. What's it like being able to play at home in Annapolis?
Everything, we pride ourselves in being 1-0 at home every time. We don't lose in the house, and I think this year has been even more like excel, like to put to another standard. Like we got to start protecting our house. This is like we don't lose at home, and I think that having the privilege to play in this stadium just means so much more than people realize.
And especially in conference games, really important to establish that home field in the tough American Athletic Conference where it's always difficult to get wins.
Yeah, yeah. I would think that like, especially being in our environment and having like those big teams come, like for example, like we had my freshman year, number 4 Cincinnati come to our house. Like we lost that game, but we lost that game like in the line. It was a close game to the very end, and like just having that home field advantage means a lot to us.
What is the comfort level like for you now, having been on the yard for several years and getting a sense of what it takes to be a member of the brigade and a midshipman, but also being able to focus on football?
I would say like at first it's a big challenge, like it's something that not everybody can go through, not everybody understands, and but it's something that you have to embrace and you have to make the most of. And I feel like all of us on the football team and pretty much all varsity athletes, all students here, like we embrace it to the max and we enjoy and we cherish the opportunity that this school, this institution has given us. So just a really good opportunity and very thankful for it.
And how about the opportunity that you got from Gulliver Prep? How you were prepared playing not only football there, but scholastically to be a scholar athlete at the United States Naval Academy?
Solar prep, that's a one of a kind school. Like, like honestly, it's like I wouldn't be here without having gone to Gulliver Prep. I wouldn't like excel here if I didn't go to that school. I'm just like thankful for God blessing me to go to that school and putting me in the position I am right now to excel.
And how unique is it to be able to continue your college career, not only as a football player, but as a member of the brigade with Amin, who you shared so many experiences with in high school at Gulliver?
It's just a dream come true, really. Like I always wanted like a bigger brother, and Amin fits that role for me. So like it's just always been like me and him, really. Ever since we committed to the same school, ever since we like met each other, it's been me and him versus, everybody. And like we clicked from the beginning. So it's just really been a blessing, really, for me and him to come to the same school and then us to like now play the same position. Like a great opportunity.
And what about what you do off the field on the yard? What do you like the best about being a member of the brigade when you're not on the practice field for football?
I would say just like our fan base, if we leave, like all eyes on us, but also like they cherish us. They realize like what we go through and they understand like the sacrifices we make and they like give us I don't know how you say it, but like it's just different, Like they just love us out there and I just love that. Like no matter if we win or lose, they love us.
Do you like being held to a higher standard as a member of the brigade?
Yeah, I do. I would say that. Like this, like I said, like it's you have to embrace it. You have to uphold it. You have to uphold it to the utmost, to the highest standard, and that's something that I cherish the most. Like being at that standard and like proving to people like I deserve to be here, and I'm doing this for not only for myself but for the people that I love and the people that are watching me.
And how fired up are you guys to take on this USF team that's played so well in the last couple of weeks? A real game where this Navy team can make a statement.
Fired up, I'm fired up. Like, we can't wait for this game to come. Like the other day, like our coach was just shaking because like how good we look, and also like how explosive we are, and then the defense we're going up against is just going. I think it's going to be a really good game, and obviously, I always think that we're going to come out on top.
So many people are talking about how explosive the South Florida offense is, but man, their defense, they're all over the place. They're a real tough defense.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say like I grew up around a lot of those guys, like but also like they have a lot of transfers from other places. So coming and like looking at film and seeing them really talented, really explosive. But we got talent over here too. Like it's nothing different. I think it's really gonna be an even matched game and it's really gonna be a battle of wills and who wants it more. And I know we're gonna want it more.
And a lot of pride on the line for you wanting to head back home to Florida with bragging rights.
Yeah, obviously gotta go back home. Gotta prove them boys who's the top. You feel me? So
Coming into this game against the South Florida team, so many people are talking about their offense, but this is a new look defense for them with a defensive coordinator who's really made a name for himself. What do you see as the biggest challenges from what you've seen from their games?
Well, they've improved their personnel from last year significantly. They're very athletic. Of course, they have some length. They run well. They've done a really good job of bringing in some guys, some transfer guys, and plugging in. And so, very talented group. He does a very good job, schematically. So we definitely have a challenge.
For a team that really throws the ball around quite a bit, they also play a very physical brand of offense that really seems to complement when they do want to run the ball.
Yes, absolutely. I think that they have you can tell that he's trying to grow his team culture, on both sides of the football, and we definitely are anticipating a physical game.
What was the biggest goal as you guys put the Memphis game in the rearview mirror and really got into the bye week and into this week?
Details, and we talked about a little bit last week. The detail of execution, I think our effort is steadily improving and needs to continue to improve. We're not quite to our standard yet, but we've made significant strides in being more consistent with our effort and therefore how fast we're playing. I also feel like we grew in confidence a good deal. We need to continue doing that as well. So those are the things that we're going to continue to prioritize. Obviously, the answer to your question is the detail of the assignment, being much cleaner in execution, much more consistent in that as well.
And how has the offensive line come together with some of the changes you had to make very quickly before the Memphis game that you've had a chance to maybe tweak in these 2 weeks?
Right. No, I've been very encouraged. I've made mention of that in the recent couple weeks, the progress that they're making. I feel like we're continuing to make that progress through practice in the open week last week and through this week thus far. You always have a next man up mentality. You're not going to be able to replace Le'Rion. His leadership, his skill as a player, it definitely is a huge loss, but I'm very proud of the way that the offensive line guys have responded, and stepped up. So, Self's doing a great job and continue to improve every day. So, I'm encouraged. Again, we're still working towards maximizing our talents and being the best we can be. There's no question about that.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Flags.
Hey, Coach Chestnut, did you notice that your daughter's got some pub in the local paper?
Yeah, I saw that. Proud of them. That's what I get for marrying over my head, So they're doing great. And it's really an answer to prayer, the way that things have gone for them. The student, their peers have really welcomed them. And of course, as a dad of daughters, that was a major concern, obviously, as we moved, particularly my oldest being a senior up here. So, thankfully it's going really well. And, and then they're playing well. So that's good,
Well, Broadneck's always been a really good program. You were fortunate to get in there. Maybe Coach Williams' wife can recruit your older daughter.
Yeah.
Lauren Dean.
Lauren Dean. Yeah. So we're working that a little bit with actually both of them. So we'll see where it all goes.
Well, I told the reporter that covered the game, I'm like, you do know that that's the new Navy offensive coordinator's daughters. And she didn't
No.
realize.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, they moved here from Georgia. I'm like, yeah, so did he. So South Florida, they're very disruptive. I think 5th in the nation tackles for loss, also high 18th in sacks, which isn't you're not a throwing team, but the tackles for loss, what do you got to do to keep them out of your backfield?
Well, we've got to keep them off balance, as we've discussed at length, continue to give people multiple looks, try to keep them off balance so they're not playing as fast. And then most importantly, we got to do a great job blocking them. We've got to come off the football. We've got to fit and sustain blocks and do our jobs.
You're muted, Wags.
What exactly are they doing to create so much havoc and get all these tackles for loss? Are these all blitzes or, are they doing anything unique? What are you seeing on tape?
Yeah, they do some unique things, similar in some ways to our defense. They're going to give you multiple looks, particularly with conventional offenses, and they're going to bring guys, and move the front, and that's really probably the primary way that they're able to create negative plays is movement of the front and bringing in pressure in various forms or fashion. So I would compare them. They're very similar to our defense. They have their way of doing it, but they're very similar in that manner.
And the Evans kid, I mean, he's been very, very disruptive. He's a D-back. What do they walk him up on the line of scrimmage a lot, or has he come blitzing off the edge? What's he doing?
Yep, they do a lot of things, bringing edge pressure and things of that nature. So they do a good job of creating matchups and getting their guys one-on-one with a running back and things like that in pass protections.
Thanks. I'll pass it off to the next person.
Yes, sir.
One stat of note, Navy's 24th in the nation in tackles for loss allowed, 4 per game. And like Wag said, USF is 5th in tackles for a loss on the defensive side at 9 per game. Dill Miller.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about it. It's really not. You can't go into a game, or maybe you can. I'll ask the question. And when you look at the tackles for loss that they have and all that, but you can't really say let's avoid those mistakes, or can you sort of draw up a game plan to try to avoid putting yourself in those situations?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every game plan that we put together, we always want to minimize negative plays, right? And so, we're absolutely looking at that, wanting to be intelligent in how we approach that to minimize, situations where we could cut somebody loose.
I wanted to ask, we're sort of almost a quarter into this part of the season so far. As far as like growth from where you've seen, and we talked a lot about in the preseason, you're asking some people to do some different things. As far as where you want to be right now, are you pretty happy with where that growth has gone, or you still sort of trying to find some areas where you need to improve on certain aspects? When you're asking, slot backs to do different things and fullbacks to do different things than they've done maybe in the past.
Sure. Well, I am encouraged. There's no question about that. It's evident that we've made progress. We've not approached what I believe we're capable of as far as maximizing ourselves and being the best version of ourselves we can be. I really feel that way. The most encouraging thing was and I know I've made this comment a lot, but the most encouraging thing is confidence. You've seen guys see, all right, we are capable of doing these things and doing them at a high level. And I think as we continue to move through the season, we continue to stack reps, obviously you expect to see improvement, and our hope is that, we're getting better throughout the season, and we're playing our best ball going down the home stretch.
One of the things we talked yesterday is sort of you had a unique sort of stop and start to this season with some open dates early in the season, which you don't usually tend to see a lot of times. What has been one or two things that you have stressed with this little bit of an extra time headed into this game that you guys have spent some extra time on these last 10 days?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, from a coaching perspective, is doing a great job being a great teacher, chunking information, doing a great job in our meetings. I mentioned this last week. I've asked the offensive coaches to have their meeting agenda and the points of priority so that we can, chunk information in a way that's very digestible for our guys, because we are trying to do a lot of offense, a lot of things to help us, and so you have to be a great teacher in order to chunk that information so that our guys can go play fast. So from a coaching perspective, it's been that. It's been making sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to make things crystal clear for our guys so that they can go play fast and execute our plan. And then on the flip side of it, from our players' perspective, it's continuing to grow in our effort, but also dialing in our execution, which means detail of the assignment. So the details of execution as well. And we're continuing to go at that. I'd love to tell you that we're where we want to be. We're still growing in that area. There's no question about that. We still have to continue to improve, in that arena, but we have absolutely made progress over the last couple of weeks, and I'm excited and looking forward to Saturday.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll make another spin around. Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, how important is it to get production from the quarterback position in the running game to continue the strides that the offense has made in recent weeks?
It's incredibly important. Obviously, your offense is only going to function as well as your quarterback allows it, right? And so I think continued improvement at all positions, not just quarterback, is obviously the goal. But we want to continue to grow our production at that position. There's no doubt about it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Wags.
Coach, how would you maybe rate Braxton Woodson's grasp of the offense at this point?
Much better than your average freshman, but not quite ready for prime time. I think he really is ahead of the curve in a lot of ways. But when you step back and you take into account that he's in his plebe year at the United States Naval Academy, he's learning a totally new system that is a lot. There's a lot of offense, and so to have an expectation that he could go out and give you 20, 30 snaps at whatever that ratio may be in a game right now would be counterproductive, candidly, for the offense as well as for his growth. So we're continuing to bring him along. We're very excited about what we know Braxton is going to become, because of these things that we're discussing. We're really, really excited about his future. But we also have to be intelligent about how we bring him along, so that we set ourselves up for success as an offensive unit, as well as set him up for success so he doesn't get overwhelmed and lose his confidence. So there's a tedious balance there that always goes on when you have a talented young player at the quarterback position.
So is the hardest thing for a young quarterback, is it doing what he has to do at the line of scrimmage, reading defenses and making checks? Is that the hardest thing to do, recognition type stuff, or is it just plain grasping the playbook?
I think it's all the above, to be quite honest. What you said is very, very accurate. The game is moving pretty fast for him at times, and when you get to a point where you're comfortable with the playbook, you're comfortable with, running the offense at the line of scrimmage, as you were referencing a moment ago, then the game just slows down and it allows you to go play. And at times, and he's grown tremendously in this, but at times it's still moving a little fast for him.
The fumbles that Blake committed, was that an issue of not securing the ball properly? Was he not, high and tight the way you teach it? I thought the second one in particular was pretty loose. The second one absolutely was. The first one, the ball security on that was good. I would say it's not great. And that kid made an unbelievable play. If you watch, of course, we have all the different angles. So he made a tremendous play. And his ball security on that one was good, particularly with a guy coming from behind. The second one was very poor. The two young guys that you've inserted on the offensive line, Boughton and Cummings, how do you think they're coming along? They're coming along well. Bouton in particular is really making strides. I'm really encouraged. Trey is making improvement. But I'm very encouraged by those guys. So is that how you pronounce it? Bouton? I believe it's Bouton.
You're right. You got it right, Coach.
Yeah. Okay. That's it for me for now. Thank you.
All right. No problem.
Joe.
Yeah, I was going to just one more theme on the question of the quarterback position. And I know we tend to always treat it a little bit differently as sort of, when different guys get into this, multiple guys get into the game. But what is your conversation, or what is the conversation on the sideline when you're talking to those guys? Is it a situation where you're looking at a certain situation for one guy, or it's a feel for you?
Well, all the above, just being candid,
Yeah.
It's absolutely, we go in with a plan to get them both in the game in particular, and even Braxton as well. We always go in with a plan of, here's what we would like to do from a rep standpoint, or getting them involved in the game. And then there's absolutely situational themes that come up where one guy's skill set fits better than the other. That's part of part of the world we're in right now.